Hi everyone, and this is how I landed a sponsored role in the UK in tech. So first of all, I want to kind of let you guys know what the timeline of that was. Definitely applying for a job takes a long time here in the UK than compared to maybe other places because of competition and just the recruitment cycle in general. So I came to the UK to do my master's in September 2023, and I started applying for jobs also within the same month, and I graduated a year later, and 2 weeks after I graduated I started my role. So I now work as software engineer at booking.com, and they sponsor my visa. So I was able to, luckily for me, directly transfer from a student visa to a skilled worker visa, which saved me a lot of money because I didn't have to go down the graduate visa route, and also I can now get my residency faster because I was already on a skilled worker visa. So the timeline from submitting my application to actually receiving the job offer itself was about 6 months. I would say I applied for this particular role that I landed in maybe October, end of October, and I got the news that I got the role in about April or early May of the next year. So it took a while, and there were many rounds of interviews and like different things I had to do, and there was an assessment center, and there was like so many levels involved that I had to go through to then finally get selected for the role. So my particular role is a grad scheme. I would say grad schemes are probably one of the easier jobs to land just because they're hiring multiple people. So for example, my grad scheme, they were hiring 15 people. So you are more likely to get it than just a role that's hiring like for one person, because if you look on LinkedIn and all these places where you actually apply for them, you can see there's like hundreds of thousands of people applying, and the competition in the UK is like actually insane because there's people from all over the world, and it's like a central hub, and people all want to work here. So the competition for these skilled worker providing jobs are like insanely nuts. Like the odds are actually crazy. So you're probably more likely to get into a grad scheme. And as a fresh grad, graduating out of a master's or an undergrad, like you're applicable to apply for a grad scheme no matter how old you are and stuff. So because of that, that is probably your best odds at getting there. So in whatever your industry, there probably is a grad scheme unless your industry is quite niche. And look for companies that are offering these kinds of grad schemes, and you can then apply for those grad schemes. Number one is make a list of all of the things that you're going to apply for. So I would say open an Excel spreadsheet and actually populate it with the roles that you want to apply for. So after doing all your research on these grad schemes and things, apply. Put all of those links in a spreadsheet. Put the application start date and put all those details. Make sure you don't miss a thing. Second thing, there is websites online, I'll put them up on here, where you can go and check if the company has a license to sponsor you. So if they don't have a license, that means they can't offer skilled worker visas no matter how well they pay you or no matter what the role is. So there's kind of no point for applying for those companies. So you want to definitely apply only for companies and spend your time on applications for companies that can sponsor you. So make sure you know that the company is a company that can sponsor you and will sponsor you for that role, unless it's you wasting your time applying. So we'd rather not do that, right? Third thing is, while you're getting all this information ready and you have like a list of everything that you're going to apply for, is you need to perfect your UK CV format. So there's a specific format for the UK CV. You can look it up online. If you want, DM me and I can send you my CV and show you. But basically, it's a very clean format. There's no picture, there is no design or anything involved. It's just like black and white, but it should be like well organized, and you should put like all of your education, all your previous experience, basically highlight your CV and like grammar correct it and like make sure that it's good and readable. And oftentimes it is AI that is reading your CVs and like passing them through. So a lot of the times I did actually individually tailor my CV for the particular job that I was applying for. For example, I would use keywords from the job app description and make sure that those keywords and skills were in my CV, or I would add them to my CV, just so that when it is, gone through by AI, I have a likelier chance of getting in. There's also tools online where you can submit your CV, free and paid tools where you can submit your CV and get like a score. Usually, if you're in uni, your unis have access to systems like this for free. So maybe ask your professors for access to these kinds of things, and they will provide it for you. And you can get a score on how good your CV is and how to improve it and things like that, etc. Again, if you want a free opinion, you can always contact me. But yeah, perfect that CV, perfect that format. Next thing that you're gonna do is, during this time where job applications are just starting to open, you're also going to look for unpaid or internships or part-time roles that align with the kind of role you're looking for long term. So for example, I wanted a software engineering role. So I had a part-time role teaching computer science to students, and I tutored and I did a consulting internship because at one point I was applying for consulting grad roles. So things like that. Try to reach out to your network, and even if it's just a month of part-time work that you can squeeze in with uni, even if it's unpaid, try to get that UK experience, because especially if you're an international, well, you have to be an international student because you need a visa, and your international experience, it doesn't count for much unless you come from a first world country. So you probably need UK experience, like some work experience that will relate to your work role or your industry will really, really help. And you can use those examples and things in your interviews later on as well. So make sure you have some UK experience, even part-time, even an unpaid internship or something to fill your CV up with, so that the job that they're trying to give you is not the first time you're working for a UK company. That way they're more likely to consider you if you already have like a proven track record and you can get good references and things like that. So look for those opportunities, grab them, do them. I know there's a lot of multitasking at the same time, but all of this needs to happen at the very, very beginning of the recruitment cycle. So in September, October, I'm talking about, right? And then you actually start applying for these roles. When you start applying, you submit your CV. I already talked about tailoring your CV to the particular role, and you submit a cover letter. And you can also tailor your cover letter to the job role. I had a draft cover letter that I would put to ChatGPT and then put the job description and make it tailor to each job role that I was applying for. So you can use AI tools and things like that for that. And also, if you're in tech, for example, you want a portfolio, you want your GitHub to be updated, you want your LinkedIn to be updated, your references to be updated, all those things need to be updated. And especially if you're in tech, it is high time for you to get your ass on LeetCode and HackerRank. You need to start building your profile, start doing coding tests, because you're going to need to pass coding tests to get a software engineer role. So start practicing. Again, this is still early September to October we're talking about, because one of the first things when you apply is that you're going to get a HackerRank or like LeetCode test for you to do in under 30 minutes or something like that. And you're going to have to pass that stage to get to even the interview rounds. So at this point, you need to do a lot of work, a lot of hard work on LeetCode. Like I LeetCoded my ass off. yeah, you just have to do it. So September, October is going to be just a lot of applying, a lot of practice, a lot of perfecting your already like resume of contents, and also trying to get some experience. So it's just a lot of juggling at the same time. But make sure you apply, and keep applying even if you get rejection. Probably get thousands of them. I mean, I definitely got thousands before I got my first yes. First and one of the few yeses. So you only need one role to say yes, right? So it's okay, keep going even though you get the rejections. I know mentally it's very tough and it's very difficult, but try to just not be fazed by it and just be like, it's not the role for you, so let's move on, because you want to find a role that is the perfect fit for you as well, and not just for the visa. You don't want to be miserable in a role. So at the end of the day, think that it's for the best, move on, keep applying, right? November time is you're doing a lot more applications now, applying to all sorts, and try not to limit yourself to like very specific niche roles as well. Try to apply for everything. For example, I applied for consulting, software engineer, data science, analytics, AI, ML, like all sorts of stuff, right? Another type of thing that you are going to have to apply and do is IQ tests. And a lot of these tests come in the form of like games. For example, games like you have to remember a sequence of things, or you have to like solve puzzles in certain ways. You can look up online, and I'll also drop a few screenshots of some apps that you can download that I would just play in my free time. Like I would solve puzzles and like do the remembering games and stuff in my free time, just to make sure that like my skills are brushed up, because the only way you're gonna get good at them is by doing them repetitively. So while you're just like, on the tube or like in the bus or whatever, just do it on the side, and it'll like automatically brush up your skills. And when you need to do it for your interviews, when you're like interviews and your online IQ tests, you'll be good at them. Assuming you've gone through your LeetCode and all of that, and your IQ tests and all these automated tests, now you're going to get personality tests. So they're going to come in two ways. Either they're going to come in like a recorded video audio format where they say the question and then you have to record a response to it, or you're going to get some kind of questionnaire sort of thing where you say like, I like working in a team. A little bit, yes. I love to work in a team. I always want to work in a team. And you select which option, like how likely are you kind of thing. So this is now really tricky, and it was so confusing for me initially. But the way you kind of hack the system is that for each company, you want to go look up the company and look up their values. A lot of companies, especially the bigger, larger companies, which are the ones you'll be looking at because they're the ones that can sponsor, will have these values up on their website. Things like, we are a collaborative work culture. We, like, for example, Booking talks about putting the customer first and always learning. And there are these certain values that you are supposed to emulate. I hope I'm using that word right, emulate, as a employee working for that company. So technically what you need to do is you need to hack the system and create the personality that they want so that they hire you, right? Because otherwise it's going to be really, really confusing. So you need to figure out what their priorities are and hack the system and make your personality so that it fits that role. So obviously, if they ask you about teamwork, you gotta go max pro teamwork. Like, I don't like working alone. I want to work in a team always. If one of their core values, for example, Booking core values is always learning, you want to say, I continuously want to learn. I want to try new things all the time, etc. So like those kinds of things you want to highlight, especially in the spoken interviews as well. This is really, really important because they'll ask you all sorts of questions. For example, like talk about a project that you worked on, and if it went well, what were you responsible for, and what was the conclusion. Be very precise. Use the STAR method to kind of talk about the situation, like flag point, especially if you're on video. You can do 1, 2, 3, 4, that kind of thing, and make your points very clear, but also make sure you shove in those core values of that company and emulate that in your response, because that's technically what they're looking for. So this is the same for the AI evaluated personality tests, the ones where you pull the slider, or the ones that are in person with like an actual recruiter. Hopefully you're getting interviews now and you've got a few assessment centers lined up. I feel like once you get to the interview and assessment center stage, it means you're good enough. You just have to keep trying until you get the offer. You're close, you're almost at the edge of it, you can almost taste it. So I think doing the hard work is getting to that point, and after that it's just a trial and fit kind of thing for the company to be a good fit for you as well. So once you get to that stage, just stay strong, do them a couple of times. It might not be your first assessment center that you get through, but the more you do, the more you get experience, and the more you will be able to like be cool, calm, collected, and like ace them. Basically, try to dress well, definitely dress to like impress, be super professional, try to come up with your A game, and if you've gotten to this stage, know that you're capable, and have faith and trust in yourself, and know that you're good enough. You just need to get through the day and get that offer secured. And yeah, hopefully by April, May time, you have your offer and they're telling you the good news. They can sponsor your visa, and yeah, wishing that for all of you that are trying to get this. I know it's a very, very difficult process, like emotionally, but also labor wise. Like a lot of work has to be done, and sometimes you need to convince your employers to like sponsor you. So it's really difficult. Sometimes you have to work for them on a graduate role, but they'll say, okay, at the end of your graduate visa we'll sponsor you. So just keep chasing up on it. Make sure you are caught up on all the immigration laws and like the salary cutoffs and things like that, and with everything changing, make sure you're up to date on all of those things. Know your rights, speak up, and just really, you need to be a go-getter, and you will secure that role. I don't think it's impossible. I think if you try hard enough and if you do it smart enough, you will be able to secure that role. And I think if I was able to do it, anyone is able to do it. Like, I've seen a lot of my friends work really hard and get really good rules, and also I see a lot of my friends right now working really hard and are getting really close to getting that role, and they're just like a couple of months away. I can like smell it, So I hope the same for you, and I hope that this actually helped and gave some context as to how I got my role. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments or DM me, or if you want me to look at your CV or something, hopefully DM me anywhere on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever, and I'll try to answer all of them. But yeah, hope this was useful. So yeah, see you in the next video.